I'm a fledgling stand-up comic, and
I'll say.
yeah, when I was a teenager, the Stop with the Kicking
Sure.
special was like huge, and I totally ripped you off. Like it was like to do impressions.
Do you want to start sending checks now? What do you mean?
Well, it was more about getting laid back then. But
well, I did that. We all did that. If you mean you quoted bits from it and passed it off as your own?
No, well, I would of course. I walked around with a piece of paper printed out that said all bits stolen from Kevin Pollak.
Yeah,
I did not pass them off as my own. I certainly did not. But just what really opened,
being able to recite somebody's act. That's we all did that.
Right.
Do that.
But that I started getting into like doing impressions because in my family we all kind of started with the Sean Connery, and went from there and whatnot. And so I was always interested because you opened up William Shatner to me in my brain.
Sure, I understand.
Because I wasn't able to maybe
somebody has to open the door. You're right.
So I've always been interested in like what your process was to get to a voice.
Well, someone usually opens the door, or I completely stumble over it. I started out around the same time as Dana Carvey in San Francisco, and to this day we sort of give credit to certain people who opened doors for us. And then I remember once we were on the phone together. He was on SNL, and it was like a Tuesday, and I said, who they got you doing this week? And he said, I got to do Ross Perot. And this is when Ross Perot had just made a couple of appearances on Larry King, but no one was doing a Ross Perot voice, that's for sure. People were still getting to know him. Anyways, I said, how do you do Ross Perot? He said, well, they got a tape of him on Larry King. I'm going to watch. So during the phone call, Dana and I started working on our Ross Perots, just riffing back and forth. And by the end of the call, we both had perfect Ross Perot impressions. And I said, wait a second. On Saturday, you're going to become famous for doing Ross Perot.
Yeah.
Now I'm just some monkey doing your Ross Perot. This is horrible. I mean, I remember I made fun of his, he had an analogy for everything, and they never made sense. The economy is like peanut butter, see? If you feed it to a horse and he chews on it, it'll look like he's talking.
It's totally true.
Yeah.
Well, that was always, you can't do, we got to dance with the economy. Can't do the waltz, got to do the foxtrot.
That's it. Yeah. So somebody opens a door. I think Dana and I would probably agree that Rich Little was the first to do Johnny Carson that we remembered.
Right.
The late 70s, and that's when we started doing it. Now, Ed, you like to bowl, is that right? A lot of people think that bowling, of course, started in America. It dates back to Egyptian times. I don't know if you knew that or not. Little known fact. In fact, as the story goes, Ramses was not a fan.
Spot on.
He was against bowling. And apparently one day, and this is a quote, Moses was quoted as saying, "Let my people bowl." You see, because... there's always somebody, and then every now and then it'll just accidentally come out of me. I was driving. I'd been sent to the grocery store with a list of items by the lady of the house. And as a man, of course, I had not written down the list. So as I'm driving, I'm going over the items in my head, trying to make sure I don't screw it up. I'm going to screw it up. I know I am, but I don't want to.
It's who we are. It's
It's
just
all right.
a part of us, yeah.
It's what we do. So I'm trying to remember the list. And then one particular item on the list pops into my mind, and I say it out loud into the rearview mirror as Liam Neeson. Now, I have never, ever...
All you see is just your eyes.
I'd never thought of doing Liam Neeson. He's an action star in his late 60s. I'm sure it's a good impression to do. I just had never thought of it.
Right.
So it was completely inexplicable why. I remembered the item, looked in the rearview mirror and said, "Bananas." And that was it. And then I pictured myself at an IHOP. What would you like on your waffle, Mr. Neeson? Bananas. Now go, I will find you. Yeah. So that just literally happened as I was driving. And then.
So do you ever feel like you're writing for somebody else? And does that kind of take you out of it if you're doing something with impressions? Or because like with comedy, with doing you know the material is coming from you, it's you. It's almost like having a puppet, right? Like it's
You mean when I speak the material as another person?
well when you're writing it, like
So, oh yeah. Well, there's the problem. You've presumed that I'm writing. I sort of chicken scratch it in the air and then I picture it.
oh
No.
right on.
Wow.
No, I mean, I know what you're saying. I will say similarly, when I am impersonating certain people like my hero, Albert Brooks, I think funnier and faster when I'm doing the impression and just sort of improvising.
Oh, wow. That's wild.